Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to start diving into surrendering and talking a little bit about it, how I discovered what it feels like in my body, what types of things came up for me when I was learning how to surrender. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Melissa, and this is the Sacredness Within You. I really created this channel for those of you that are wanting to reconnect with that part of you, that sacredness that's deep down inside you, your intuition, the abundance that's within you, and really start cultivating and creating the life that your heart really desires. And also to, I want to be able to help heal the feminine within each and every one of us, whether you're male or female or non-binary. We all have feminine energy within us. Some of us have more, some of us have less. I identify more as feminine energy. And also to, my goal is to be able to help heal the feminine collective, because as of right now, a lot of us are doing healing around this, but there's still that competitive, petty energy that is really keeping us women separate, and we need to be more collaborative. So let's dive into today's video, and I want to start talking about surrendering, because whether you're new on your path of awakening or have been on the journey like myself for quite some time, we hear all the time, you have to surrender, you have to surrender, you have to let go. But really, what does that mean? And, for me, remember, my channel is really about me speaking my truth and helping you find what resonates with you so you can find your truth as well, and you can leave the rest. For surrendering, what that means for me is I'm letting go. I'm letting go of any expectations of how something is going to manifest or be created into my reality. I'm letting go of the constant need to work for it. I'm letting go of any attachment to it. And I'm really allowing myself to feel as if I already have that. And when I first started learning how to surrender, I didn't really know how to do that. People would be like, just put it out there to the universe, to God, and then just allow. Well, it's easier said than done with some things, like let's say like manifesting a phone, for example, is really, for me, is easier manifesting that than, let's say, like $10,000, because there's probably more attachment, more energy, more weight to me wanting that $10,000 versus the phone. And really, when you start manifesting and you start surrendering to things, there's levels and layers to it. Remember, we can only receive what it is that we feel worthy of. And that's a part of surrender that people forget. And when I started, letting go of the expectation of something and acting as if, and just allowing things to flow to me, it brought up a lot for me. It brought up all the ways and all the areas of my life that I felt like I needed to control. And remember, when we control, it's just a response to trauma that we had when we were younger, things that we learned as survival techniques when we were younger, and that led and carried into our adult life. So it brought up control for me. It brought up trust within myself, trust within the universe, trust within God. And I had to really dive into that part and really heal the parts of me that didn't trust me. And when I say like trusting me, it's like I didn't know, like, in terms of if I could trust myself to create this, or trust myself once I received what it is that I was wanting in my journey. And when I say wanting, I should say desiring, because I truly believe when we say we want something, it's coming from a place of lack. And when we desire something, it's in alignment with our heart, with our energy, and what it is that truly makes us like happier. So let's go back to that. I digress a little bit. So control, trust, It brought up fear, fear that I wasn't going to get it, fear that once I got something that others would judge me for it. It brought up that fear of like, oh my gosh, now I need to control things. I mean, the fear like was in so many different ways, but the part that really I needed to work on, and I'm still working on that, is the self-worth. Because when you surrender, you're letting go, you're trusting, you're allowing yourself to be guided by your intuition, by God, by your guides, by the universe, to navigate through life with much more flow and ease. And for me, the self-worth was where I needed to do the most work. Because remember, we can only receive to the level that we feel worthy of, because otherwise we're going to self-sabotage it in some way, shape, or form. Or once we get it, it may just disappear, or you may lose it, or whatever it may be. And so really working on that self-worth part of it. And so for me, the biggest way I started really learning about surrendering was actually on the yoga mat. And I'm going to share a little story, because I was doing, this was like probably like 4 years ago, and I was living in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. And when I lived there, I did direct sales, and then I also did Pilates. Like I taught Pilates at a local studio there. And I remember one day I was doing a yoga video from YouTube, and it was on surrendering. It was a yin yoga class, and I felt really called to do this class, and I had done it like several times since then, and it's probably one of my favorite classes. And I remember being in pigeon pose. So if you're not familiar with yoga at all, like imagine your right leg is in front of you, you know, like from your hip, the knee is straight, and then you create like a 90-degree angle or pull it closer to you. Your back leg, your left leg is straight out. So you're kind of like in a half splits. And I remember thinking, wow, this is really tight. My hips hurt. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this for like 3 to 5 minutes. Because in yin yoga, you hold poses for longer durations, because it helps really get into your tissues and really nourishes your joints and your muscles. And for me, it's been really, really transformative in terms of ways to let go of stored energy and trauma within my body. And I remember being there, and she was talking about something, and she was like, surrendering is just simply letting go. And it doesn't mean that you're giving up, because I think a lot of times people associate, well, once I surrender something, it's just I'm giving up. You know, it's not. You're just letting go of that control and the need to like create this thing in your reality. And I remember thinking about it, and she talked about, I wish I would have done the class prior to creating this video, but she talked about how when we're trying to surrender, we have to it's more like an embodiment versus the mind, because when you think about your muscles and how tight they are, it's because we're so connected to our mind, and our mind creates this density, this rigidity, this stiffness, a tightness in our body. And when you let go and surrender and really tap into your body, when you are ready, your body starts releasing and relaxing. And I just remember going from like all the way up in pigeon pose to literally having my stomach and chest onto the floor. And I thought, this is the most comfortable position ever, because I let go. I softened my body. I dropped into my body from the mind into the body, because the mind is always going to try to figure it out. And the mind wants to control. The mind is fearful of all the possibilities of what this thing that you're trying to manifest or create into your reality could come in. And remember, when something comes in, it's going to come in the least, in the way of least resistance. And I remember just thinking that the whole time when I was finishing up this class was, I need to drop more into my body, more into my heart, really open my heart and live from that place versus of the mind. And I switched to the other side and I did the same thing, and I was really able to soften it. And the more that we can soften our energy within our body, soften our body, because oftentimes too, our mind thinks if we're soft, people are, in my mind, it was people are going to take advantage of me. How am I ever going to get to where I want to go without, muscling through things? And I remember thinking, wow, this is so much easier. It's so much easier to be connected to the body and allowing my body to relax and to just feel. And I think too, like part of it for me was when I relax and drop into my body and I'm surrendering, my energy field expands. I can feel more of what surrounds me. I can feel other people's energy. I can feel what is happening around me energetically. I feel more intuitive. But also, too, for me, it was the more that I can surrender and relax, the more my energy field starts to expand. And what then happens is it starts becoming more magnetic, and it starts to pull in to me those things that I desire, whether it's being able to help as many people on this path as possible, whether it's a trip or my apartment, whatever it may be. It expands my aura and my energy field out as far as I need to. But also, too, I can only do that to the extent that I'm able to surrender. And so surrendering and practicing surrendering is kind of like strengthening your muscles. If you go to the gym, your goal is to get stronger physically. I don't know why they're giving me this example, because I'm in a phase right now where I'm doing a lot of yin yoga because I'm restoring my body. I'm trying to tap into that yin part of me. And for me, doing traditional strength training keeps me more in my masculine energy. And I become very competitive with myself and with others and stuff. And so I'm working on that part of me. But it's like, if you want to get stronger, you don't just go to the gym once and lift weights, right? You have to go back multiple times in order to create the strength that you are wanting to create. It's like surrendering. It's a muscle. Like, we have to practice it, because depending on where we're at in our journey, we can only surrender for a certain amount of time. And the more we practice this, the more we embody, that part of us that surrenders, which is like the feminine energy. We surrender and we allow things to attract to us, like we're magnets. And when we surrender, we're able to flow through life. And yes, we still need we need to have our masculine energy, because remember, masculine energy is what provides protection for us. It leads us. It provides financial abundance and security and all that kind of stuff. And so when we can surrender more, it allows us to flow with the structures that we've created within our masculine energy. And so I really just wanted to come on here and share that all with you, because I know at times I still struggle with it, especially if I'm, calling in something that I have attachment to. And so give yourself some grace and just observe where it is that you're at in this journey of surrendering. And I know sometimes in the spiritual community and in posts that you see on Instagram or TikTok or even Facebook, it can make you feel like that you're not doing a good enough job. And just always remember, where you are at in your journey is absolutely perfect. You don't need to be anywhere other than where you are. And to just allow the universe, your guides, your intuition, your higher self to really guide you down that path. Remember too, when we surrender, they're giving me this image of a fork in the road. Where you're at a point in the road, you can go down this way or you can go down this way. Let's say when you go to the left, it's the more like the way that you know the most, the path that has, you've always taken. You know it at like the back of your hand. You know exactly what's going to happen. And when you surrender, usually what happens too is you go down the other path, because that path tends to be a little bit easier, but it's also a little bit frightful. You're scared. Like, it brings up this little bit of nervousness within you. But yet, if you were to tap into your body and really tap into your intuition, you would know that that path was the right path. And the only reason why you're feeling nervous about it is because it's a path that you've never taken before. And your ego doesn't know what's going to happen and what lies ahead. And it can't stay prepared, And so it's why also too, when you're on this path, you can only see only a few steps ahead, because it's calling you to be present in this moment. It's calling you to be right here, right now, and allowing yourself to see. When I say see, it's like with your mind's eye, with your intuition, like to see what you need to do next. And on that path, there's going to be a lot of new opportunities for you to expand your consciousness, to expand your energy field, and to become more in alignment of who you are. So a couple takeaways I want to share with you is, if you're wanting to learn to surrender more, start being more observant with your reality. What is it? What happens within your mind and within your body when you're called to surrender? What happens? Does despair come up? Does hopelessness come up? Does all these lower energies come up? If so, it's okay. Because when they're coming up, I truly believe when they're coming up and you can see them, because I believe awareness is like the first step. And sometimes it's really hard to see those, because you're seeing a part of you that you've kept hidden for so long. To see it and just to be aware of it. Don't judge it. Just allow it to be there. And then take any necessary steps that you need to take to let that go, to heal that part or integrate. And then from there, start doing the inner work in terms of, what do I need to do to be able to surrender more? Do I need to start embodying more of who I am? Do I need to let my guard down, both energetically and mentally? Because whether you are aware of it or not, the universe is, God is, others around you are. And remember, your world is a reflection of you. It's giving you clues to the parts of you that are wanting to be seen. And then from there, what's one step? Just think of one step that you can take to surrender to another level than what you are right now. Don't go from like point A all the way to point Z, because we have to take those steps. Sometimes we have to go step A, B, C, D, and we might be able to build up some momentum and go to K. And then after that, and stuff, it doesn't mean that we have to take, all these steps to get to where we're wanting to go. Sometimes we're called to take several small steps in order to make big jumps in our reality. And then once you start surrendering to the level to a higher level than where you are at now, deepen that connection of surrender, deepen that connection with yourself, deepen your connection with God and with the universe, because oftentimes when we're not able to surrender, it's also mean that we're seeing ourselves separate from God, separate from the universe, separate from source energy, whatever it is that you may call that overarching energy that's guiding us. Because part of our journey is to feel as one with that energy and with others. And so, my friends, I hope this helped a little bit. It's just a little bit of scratching the surface of surrendering and how I begin to learn how to surrender. And by no means am I perfect at it. After all, I am human, so don't expect yourself to be perfect either. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you thought. Let me know, ways that you have learned to surrender. What tools do you use? And as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share this video with those that this may resonate with. And so, my friends, I'm sending you so much love and light. Until the next time.